Well, hello everyone. This is Lawrence. It's been a long time since I made a video. I've just been so busy the last year or so with house projects and personal life projects and all that, that I got out of the cycle of making videos. But I want to get back into it. I want to get back in the game, as they say. Um, I have a number of videos I like to do. I've had in my mind, and this one here is regarding the Beatles White Album, and I want to talk for about 10 minutes regarding um, the Beatles, nicknamed the White Album, because Bill Maher did a interview with Billy Joel about a month or so back, and the White Album came up, and Billy said it's not his favorite Beatle album. He called the songs, or some of them, half baked, and I want to address that. Okay, um, I I have nothing. I hold that not against Billy for saying that. I love Billy Joel's music. I've been a fan for many years and I always will be. And he has a right to his opinion, but I want to give my perspective. Um, as far as being half baked songs, let me address this first. The White Album has a great number of classic Beatles songs like Dear Prudence, Back in the USSR, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Blackbird, Mother Nature's Song, Martha, My Dear. It goes on, okay? But what is dropped into this double album are some songs that I wouldn't consider them great Beatle classic albums, but they're more interesting ideas, lyrical ideas set to music. And I wrote down about four of them: Wild Honey Pie, Bungalow Bill, Do It in the Road, Revolver 9, and I guess you could say Don't Pass Me By. And uh, Ringo at this point certainly did deserve to have a song on his own for the album. He's been such loyal um, member of the Beatles, very talented. So I give him that. Yeah, these pieces I just mentioned, and there's probably a few more, um, are not they're grouped in with the greater songs of the White Album. Um, but to themselves, they're not considered like Beatle classic. More, like I said, interesting ideas set to music, and it fits in with these tracks fit in with the White Album because the White Album is what's the word they use? Avant-garde. Uh, it's the White Album is very avant-garde, type of album. And I want to address the White Album itself. I love the White Album. I'm first generation Beatle fan, but I came on a little bit later because I was born in 1959. And during the time when they appeared on Ed Sullivan, I really didn't know quite what was going on. I was like 4 or 5, but I had older siblings who did, and so they played the Beatle music constantly, their records and all that, and I heard it on radio. So I knew this was something great, but I wasn't able to put it all together. And by the time I became a teenager, it became more focused, and I was into the music, the rock music of the early part of the 70s through the 70s and on. Okay. And while I was into groups like Aerosmith, Bad Company, Led Zeppelin, to name a few, um, I was also catching up, with what the Stones have done in the 60s, what the Beatles done, catching up in the sense of getting a full grasp and hearing all their albums and buying them too, um, putting together a music collection on vinyl. And although I've heard most of the Beatles songs on the radio and records, I wasn't as familiar with all of the White Album because some of these songs just didn't get played on the radio. Um, they were just kind of weird, and radio stations didn't pick them up. But I heard every track from Revolver, um, some more so than others, but quite familiar with that. So when I finally went out to buy the White Album, money from my summer jobs, it was a real treat because um, I never heard the album in its entirety, and there was a good number of songs I never heard. So I just had a chance to um, absorb this album for the first time uh, fully. Um, sure, I heard back in the USSR, Guitar Gently Weeps. Didn't hear didn't hear Dear Prudence till I actually got the album, um, and other songs. And I will put the White Album this way: it's while the Beatles were always reinventing themselves. Okay, this particular album, it's like they took all the rules of making a Beatle album and threw it out the window. They just came back from India. They demoed the songs. George Martin has been said that when the material was presented to him, he was overwhelmed by the amount of songs, but a bit underwhelmed because he didn't think all of it was that good. And he suggested, well, boys, I think it would be trying to get my George Martin British accent better if we just took the best songs and consolidated to one record album. I'm glad that the Beatles did not do that. I like the album the way it is, all the weird avant-garde stuff, along with the more acceptable, radio-friendly stuff. And I'm glad he didn't do that. Also, the White Album is has more different styles of music than any of their other albums. I wrote it all down here. There's folk, there's country, British blues, SKA, I never can pronounce that word, music hall, Paul digging into his dad's record collection, hard rock, and a little psychedelia, although they were getting away from that with the White Album. They wanted to, get back as a band and, um, make some rock and roll again, which they did. Um, but there's also some really nice acoustic, quiet stuff like Blackbird, Mother Nature Song, Long, 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 which is kind of mysterious, kind of spooky. Um, so it has a wide variety of music genres of the White Album. And so the album seemed to fit more with me. My brother, who's about 5 years older, he didn't like the White Album. He didn't like stuff like Helter Skelter and either the weird stuff. Everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey. The album had really some really weird lyrical content, a spinoff of I Am the Walrus. And the album was perfect for me. I loved it. And I never could convince him, hey, just listen to these songs. He just kind of rejected it, but he liked all their other albums. Um, Also, want to mention 1967, Sergeant Pepper's Magical Mystery Tour. That was Summer of Love, Power, Peace, and all that. By 1968, political unrest, assassinations of political and civil rights leader, sadly, of Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy. Um, War protests in the streets. I mean, things were really heating up 1968. And the White Album kind of reflected that. If Sergeant Pepper's had come out in 1968 instead of 67, it would have seemed a little bit out of touch. We get by with a little help from my friends, hold hands, flower power. Now, this was 1968 and all the turbulent stuff going on. I'm just looking over my note to take. I don't want to leave anything out. I don't want to make this video over again. Okay, so the White Album, it was a double album, and a lot of people say it should have been a single album. Okay, I don't think it would have worked as a single album. What would have worked, and I'm glad they didn't do this either, but this would have been interesting, is to take out the at what Billy called the half-baked songs, the four I mentioned, and include Hey Jude, Revolution, do away with not including singles on the album, but include those two. Finish off Not Guilty, which George put on a solo record, and Hey Bulldog. That would have materialized, that would have strengthened the album. But I'm glad it's the way it is. Do I have anything else to say? No, I just wanted to express that the issue of half-baked songs, I look at them as interesting ideas set to music. I love the White Album to death. I listen to it quite often. And I really don't have a favorite Beatle album. I joke, my favorite Beatle album is the one I'm currently listening to at the moment. So got my Beatle poster there. I got the listening room redone. I did major projects to the house. So I'll be making more videos that since I have more free time, hopefully to get out one or two a week. Thank you for watching. Please, thumbs up are great, but leave a comment. Just write a short sentence or two. You don't have to write a book. And let me know your thoughts on the White Album. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.